2, 1.
All right, all right, all right. So on the last video, when we left off on page 405, we talked about the Division of Consumer Services, the Division of Investigative and Forensic Services, and the Division of Rehabilitation and Liquidation. But at no time does whatever they told us about the Division of Rehabilitation and Liquidation qualify as information. All right, we're going to talk about that a little later on, because if you remember, rehab, is the state ever going to rehab an agent, rehabilitate an agent? No. If you need rehabilitation, we're just going to take your license away. Okay, that's about it. They don't rehab agents, nor do we liquidate anything for agents. So if the conversation has anything to do with anybody not having any money, being insolvent, liquidating, rehabilitating, all of those things, who would take care of it? The Office of Insurance Regulations, right? Because they're definitely not talking about an agent. So anyway, I just want to drive down. Remember, we really haven't talked about that division. They just would like to give us the illusion that they told us something relevant. But if you flip over to page 406, that's where today happens. That's where the now is, all right? So that first line right there, and by the way, I still got my millennial in the back taking care of all the video. If you're trying to find somebody or you're trying to find our clips online, you could just look up I Am David to You on Instagram. And that kind of, his mom knew that he was gonna be a digital person, so it's digital, audio, video. I deliver to you. She named him David. Now he's got the Instagram. He's like Insta famous. And then we have the goat farmer. I have a goat farmer in the background. You think I'm lying, right? Goats skincare. I got a goat farmer in the class. So I've got a millennial and a goat farmer is how you start a joke, right? So a millennial and a goat farmer walk into an insurance class. Oh shit, am I screwed now? Anyway, so on 406, what I want you to do is, obviously, I want you to highlight that little top area, 26.3. So you know we're pretty much going to talk about everything about the Office of Insurance Regulations. And then let's take that very first line right there. The Office of Insurance Regulation is the primary regulator of insurers. Now, I know you're only supposed to highlight, you're not supposed to highlight and underline, but I wouldn't be mad at you if you underline that very last part that says primary regulator of insurers, because bam, insurers. Who is the insurer? That's the insurance company, right? So on this next line down, the 2631, highlight that headline there. And I just want to point out, in the beginning of the book, we're knocking out two birds with one stone right here, okay? Because if you remember, if we went all the way to the front of the book, this would be in that S4 realm right there. Actually, it's S5. What they want you to talk about with the Office of Insurance Regulations is general duties and powers, and then there's an A and a B. Those are both covered by this headline. And then bullet point number 2, market conduct examinations, also covered on this page. And so this is like not much information at all. So check this out. First line, I want you to highlight insurance policy. And this is under 2631 on 406. Insurance policy. Next line down, all the way at the end. May not be delivered in Florida unless, and then I want you to jump over just a couple of words, filed with the office. And then directly under that office there, at least 30 days in advance. A little further on that sentence, at the expiration of the 30 days. Form, next line down, deemed approved unless, and then right underneath it, disapproved. What? I know you like the way we chop up these paragraphs here, right? Because in between everything we jumped over is just words, 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 words. Now, I'm not going to explain this to you, but I'm at least going to read it to you in one quick segment. That way you get it. What they're saying, remember what we talked about with the chief financial officer, he's in charge of the entire business of insurance. Nobody is higher, right? This is one of his offices that deals with insurance companies. What they're saying in this is that if an insurance company uses it, if it's a form, if it's something they need to file, if it's an advertisement, if it's a rate for your premium, no matter what it is, the Office of Insurance Regulation regulates it, okay? If it is a form, all they're saying here, that before they can use it, they've got to file it with the office at least 30 days ahead of time. If the office doesn't get to it within 30 days, the insurance company can use the form. Now, if the OIR got to it in 45 days and looked at it and said, what is this garbage? And they notify you, that company has to stop using it immediately. So I just want to point out there that 30 days, when in doubt, the answer is 30 days. A couple of pages behind us, let's see, on 404, when we pointed out that Division of Consumer Services, over there, remember that 20 days? That's like one of those exceptions to the rule, and that's why I'm going to keep drumming it in your head. It's always 30 days, even when it comes to customer service, because you are calling customer service and you're complaining about an agent or an agency. So when they contact me, like, Stephanie's over there like, oh, Jason didn't tell me this and Jason didn't tell me that, and I don't think I signed this, blah, blah, blah. She totally Karen'd it up, right? And so when she gets off, they contact me. They're saying, look, Jay, you've got to respond to this in 20 days because we got to get Stephanie her response in 30 days. So always use that 30 days as a guide there. And when in doubt, it's 30 days, okay? Don't go jumping around. If you forgot something later on in this class and you're like, oh, was it 7 days? What did I say? When in doubt, it's 30 days. Is it 90 days? No. 30 days. 30 days. We will clown you if you get 30-day questions wrong, all right? Because that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be like, 30 days, 30 days. But you get it, right? Everything. So insurance policy may not be delivered in Florida unless filed with the office at least 30 days in advance. And at the end of a 30-day period, if the office didn't approve it, they can use it until the office disapproves it. That's it. That last bullet, that last line with all those statutes and stuff after it, you don't have to highlight anything there, but I just want to point to, remember earlier on, the department has other powers that aren't named. They may be expressed or implied, like these are the almighty Oz, right? That's what they're saying here too. The office may, for cause, withdraw previous approval. So what they're saying is, you may have gotten it approved, but if they change their mind later on, it's disapproved, done. All right, so now market conduct examinations. I want to make sure that you just take a look at that language, market. They're going to use that type of formal language when talking about an insurer, okay? If we were going to talk about market conduct from an agent, we're going to use different words. We're going to use words that lean towards the department. We're going to use words that, investigation, a request for information. I know we haven't gotten over this yet, but how long do you have to respond to an official request for information from the Department of Financial Services, Stephanie?
30 days.
Yeah, you're lucky you got that right. Just want to let you know. I'm gonna abuse the baby sister the whole way through this. I'm gonna talk about millennials the whole time, all right? And I can do that because Gen X, we did it. Yeah, but she's
No,
I think she,
I'm like in the gray millennial area.
there's no gray millennial. Only a millennial would say there was a gray millennial area.
I'm 36.
She could be a boomer. All right, so let's go to 2632, all right, that market conduct. Just remember before I got all sidetracked with the peanut gallery, is that those words right there, market conduct, is going to lean towards more regulation of insurers. Reason being is because if it was an agent, we're actually going to identify the violation that they did. We're not going to talk about an agent and talk about how their market conduct is. It's something totally different, right? So here, Now let's check out this first line before we highlight everything and get all highlighter crazy like my goat farming sister here. All right, so the Office of Insurance Regulation may examine each insurer as often as may be warranted. You see that may, like, they have power. They like being all, all funny with how they do it. So just here, since there's no, let's highlight that first office. Don't highlight the whole thing of Office of Insurance Regulation, because I want your eyes to think about these key words, right? Members go with the Financial Services Commission. Office, and to speak whenever used in a word, is going to go straight to insurers, okay? Anything service related, Department of Financial Services, keyword there is department. They don't abbreviate it with services, but the department is going to be real easy for you, because in the next section we go through how to get your license, how to get your fingerprints done, and you literally have to sign on to the department website to do it. So if you screw this up, you shouldn't have a license. I'm just saying. So you highlighted the office, and then highlight may examine each insurer as often as warranted. Let's just do that. I hate using those extra mays. But right under warranted, let's go down. Must examine domestic insurer. Right on that, every 5 years. Now let's just pause there real quick. Has anybody heard? We haven't addressed a domestic insurer. So once again, they got you jumping into this section, and we haven't even identified what a domestic insurer is. All right, so domestic, we're in Florida right now. So your Florida license, you can't go over to Georgia and just start selling with your Florida license. You can only sell right now in Florida unless you get licensed and get authorized in another state. So domestic insurers are insurance companies that are from the state of Florida. Okay? So domestic is inside the state of Florida. So all this is saying right here is that the OIR, they can audit you whenever they want. That's what that first sentence said. The second part is the part that they're probably going to test you on, and that is they must audit you at least once every 5 years. So those insurers that are based out of Florida, we're guaranteed to see their financials and everything at least once every 5 years, but they could do it every year if they wanted. All right. Second paragraph down. Let's start at the middle of that first sentence right there. Highlight, the office may accept a full report of the last recent examination of a foreign insurer. And then right after that foreign insurer, highlight that word by, and then next line down, another state. So the office may accept a full report of the last recent examination of a foreign insurer by another state. That's your key word right there, by another state. Foreign is an insurer that's from another state, right? Georgia, but they're authorized to do business in the state of Florida. So what they're saying here is that the OIR isn't going to say, hey, let me see your financials. They're going to go to the state where that company was domestic from, right, Georgia, and they're going to look at the forensics that Georgia did on them. They're going to look at their books and all those, everything Georgia did was saying, oh, okay, we don't think you're incompetent. We accept your answers for all this stuff, right? So that's all that means right there, is that if they're a foreign insurer, they're based outside of Florida. They're still inside the United States. We'll just get the examination from their state. All right. Right after that, where it says in the middle of that paragraph right there, after the another state, examination of an alien insurer limited to, a little further down that sentence, transactions in the United States. All right. Hello. Just think about the border right now, right? If you're flooding over the border and you're using the Rio Grande to get here, you're an illegal alien, right? Well, if your company is based, if your insurance company is based outside of the United States It's an alien company. They can still sell in the United States. However, the OIR can only evaluate their transactions in the United States. Okay? So that right there, I wish they would have bolded those words, because domestic, foreign, and alien, those are big keywords, real big. One of those is going to be tested, guaranteed. And then, so out of all of that, the most important thing to take is make sure you know the domestic, foreign, and alien. And then the last thing that you got to know is make sure that if it's domestic, they are checking you at least once every 5 years. Okay? That may crap, anytime it's, remember, whenever it's vague, I can't test you on something vague. I can't test you if they can and cannot. Right? I can only test you on the hard facts they give you, and that's what you need out of that. Now, I don't want you to highlight anything here. I just want to, actually, you know what? We could highlight something here, but I have a bracket on it. This isn't very important. It just leads to a little mental housekeeping, all right? Steph, you see in this paragraph right there, the third one down, like dead center in the middle, don't highlight this yet, but it says to facilitate uniformity. And then in examinations, the commission may use methods in the blah, 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 and then handbook of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, right? You see how we're in the OIR. And I was telling you guys, well, maybe I wasn't telling you, but I was telling her off camera that every once in a while, what they're going to do to trip you up, the reason that I keep on saying things throughout the class, like the commission has commissioners, right? What's the commissioner the head of? The Office of Insurance Regulations. But do you see what they just did there? They went back and said the commission. They jumped over the Office of Insurance Regulations. So remember, that's a correct answer. If we're talking about insurers and the question comes up and there is no Office of Insurance Regulations there, but there is a Financial Services Commission, that's correct, because the offices are just components of the Financial Services Commission. That's why that's there. Right? So what I want you to highlight, Steph, this is, highlight the word, highlight this, to facilitate uniformity, and then grab that second part of that sentence. The commission may use handbook of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. All right? Now, if you want, in my book, right there on that paragraph, I've got one of those little bracket things, and I wrote in, not important, but it's a good memory aid for you. Because you see what I just tried to highlight there? Commission, commissioners, and they use the word uniformity. So if you want to underline something there, because you have the big bulk there, so the words you want is uniformity, national. I would underline those two words there, because national entities do not make insurance-related laws and decisions within the states. They provide suggestions. They help standardize things so states will adopt it, so there's uniformity. That way, when you leave Florida with your healthcare product and you go to another state, I mean, there might be some slight differences, but they're going to work pretty much exactly the same. And so that's the only reason I don't want you to do that there. Like I said, I have not important, but the fact that it's there, and I think it kind of jumps out, let's just take it. And then this last line right here, last paragraph, right in the middle, examination must be conducted at least once every year. And then under that, domestic insurer, and then right under that, less than 3 years. All they are saying there is that is that the last paragraph on that page, and then it's dead center in that paragraph right there. And that's, so you can, an examination must be conducted at least once every year. And then right under an examination, you see domestic insurer, and then right under that, less than 3 years. So all they're saying there is that if they just got to the state of Florida, okay, and they just started selling policies in the state of Florida, the Office of Insurance Regulations for the first 3 years is going to audit them every single year. Now, I want to point out something. Remember, if after 3 years, they only have to do it once every 5 years, okay? But bring attention to the time frames. They always come back to play in this course. They don't mix anything up. There's not like 3 years here and then 7 years here and 2 years here. So I'm going to fast forward. This is just for your thought process before we kill this section. Is record keeping for an individual agent. When you sell a policy, you have to hold on to that record for 5 years. The Office of Insurance Regulations, how long do they have to audit? 5 years. Unless, it was a new insurer, right? Then they have to do it once every year for 3 years. Well, anything pertaining to the premium payment that an agent collected, you have to have for 3 years. So I would like you to just make sure that you have my permission to hold on to this 5 year and 3 year numbers here, because they're going to show up again. And I can promise you the only other time frame that we're going to really have to remember in this course is 24 months. And that 24 months is all over the place. Boom, boom, boom. So if I was going to give you like that 30-day thing, when in doubt, when it comes to anything else, it's 24 months, except for record keeping. It makes sense, man. If you sold a policy today, the issue that the state is looking for, it might not have come to you a good portion of the time. If they're going to ask you for a record, they're asking you for a record so they can see your notes on the policy that you sold. It's probably not something you did. All right, so that wraps up policy approval authority, market conduct examinations. You see there's not much there, right? 30 days they got to file it. And you have domestic, foreign, and alien, and you have your national entities are just there for uniformity, and you have your guidelines for examination. So if it's a new domestic insurer, they got to check them out once every year for the first 3 years. After that, they don't have to do anything for them. They don't have to look at their records for 5 years, but they can look at it every year for 5 years if they want. They can do whatever they want. In the next section, we're going to blow through. You know what? Time out. Steph, just take page 407. Look over there. Remember when I talked about issuing certificates of authority and how important that was in one of the earlier pages, how that was the answer they wanted you to realize, that second bullet point right there? Highlight just that second bullet point. The administrative actions, the Office of Insurance Regulations, major area responsibilities are as follows. So don't highlight any of that. Just take the second bullet point. Policing against unauthorized insurance activities. Remember, one of their primary responsibilities over on a page prior on 403 was issuing certificates of authority. That is making sure that all of the examinations have been done, right? If you didn't do it, one of their primary actions that they're looking for is to catch you for not doing it right. That's all. Let's go ahead and look at this investigation, Steph, right, on 2634. I was trying to get out of here before 20 minutes on this video. Sorry, guys, but it's easier to just keep this all together. Don't worry. Some of the next sections are like 7 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't have to hold it for that long. Anyway, 2634, investigation. Skip down to the third paragraph. Check this out. All right. So in there, you see the department or office may administer. It's that end of the first line right there. I want you to highlight that. The department or office may administer oaths, examine witnesses, receive evidence, subpoena a witness. Let's see. And then right under subpoena a witness, and require by subpoena the production of, and then just take records. Right? And then go to the end of that sentence, or evidence relevant to the inquiry. I want you to break out your pen for two things here. I want you to circle in the top where we said the department or office. I want you to circle the word or, okay? Whenever it's relevant, I'm going to ask you to circle the word or, because it's going to bring your attention to the other entity, all right? Now, the reason the department and office have this power is because why? Technically, at the top of that totem pole is the chief financial officer, right? He has the power. Therefore, everybody who works in conjunction with the chief financial officer has his power. Now, what I want you to do over here is, remember in the beginning we talked about those kinda quasi-legislative powers and quasi-judicial powers with the Department of Financial Services? Right here, they don't say it, they should have. Why don't you put a little bracket in the sideline, or maybe put a little arrow there to the sideline and write that, quasi-judicial authority? Because don't those sound like things that you would do? A court would subpoena you, right? And if you're looking back to see where that was, it was right under the headline for Department of Financial Services on page 403, right under 26.2. It was the last line in that paragraph. Department, quasi-legislative, which is rulemaking, and quasi-judicial powers. So here in this, just to give you, like, remember, if they ask you a question about what the department can do and what the CFO or what the office can do, we can do everything. We can conduct the investigation, we can impose penalties, we can take a license. What's the one thing that the CFO can't do? Cannot impose jail time. It has to be sent over to a circuit court in order to impose jail time. All right? And then here, you see that, you don't have to highlight this, but Steph, you see that next line right there? Obstruct the department, the office, or the examiner, guilty of a misdemeanor, right? That would be a situation where, let's just say they asked you for your records, right? How long do you have to give it to the department? 30 days. So let's just say you didn't provide it in 30 days. Now they send you a stronger letter. Yeah, you better send me my information, dude. You're looking a little suspect. Don't make me suspend your license, right? If you don't go ahead and send it in, at that point, what they'll probably do is escalate this, because you probably did whatever it is they're going to accuse you of if you're not answering the department. So if that's the case right there, and you are guilty of that misdemeanor, then that's probably something that they're going to forward over to the circuit court, and that's a way that they can make you show up with the evidence. All right, and so in the next section, we're not taking anything else from the OIR, but we're going to blow through the OFR, because everything that I just told you about the OIR is exactly the same for the OFR, which is the Office of Financial Regulations. All right.